Stand by to launch Fan Stream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Fan Stream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday, Super Tuesday, after Super Bowl on the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. My good friend Nick Geddes from Outkick.com joining me this morning. What's up, partner?
I'm doing good. Did you have a good Valentine's Day yesterday?
Oh, I did have a wonderful Valentine's Day. It was tremendous.
Makes one of us.
That's right. You were working the whole time.
I was
right?
working the whole time. Yeah.
No.
So I did not see the fiance yesterday.
Did not even see her?
Did not see her. No.
Was this discussed?
This was discussed.
Debated?
Was discussed.
Okay, so there's a substitute Valentine's Day.
But I called her because I called her. But I did.
But why guys are okay with, like, guys can wrap their arms around, okay, we can't do it this day because working, something's going on, like birthday, but we can take another day or another weekend and do a blowout. That doesn't work for girls. It has to be that day.
Well,
It has to be that day.
this goes back to the anniversary thing. How I missed the anniversary last week. That usually was
The anniversary of you meeting.
Yeah, that was usually the day. Right, the 4th.
Right.
It was always the day. And then Valentine's Day, we weren't either really into that, and it
Right.
would just be like, a little something here,
Right.
and that was it. But like I said, I forgot about the anniversary part, so I'm 0 for 2 so far. I'm 0 for 2.
Just blame me. It's okay. I usually take all the blame anyway. It's okay.
But I see you got your flowers though.
Yeah.
I see you got yours.
It's a beautiful bouquet there.
It is.
Yes. Not necessarily for me, but yes, absolutely. All right. Hope you guys took care of your business on Valentine's Day and everything's right with you and you're not in the doghouse like Eddie's over here. So, all right. Coming up on the big show today, it's Tom Brady. It was Tom Brady all last offseason. We own that story. Thank you very much. I'm not as confident on what's happening this year as I was last year. Not nearly as confident. There's way too many things up in the air about the situation with Tom Brady. Way too many things we don't know at this particular point. But we're going to go through all the different quotes and everything everybody's reporting, everything everybody's saying, and try to once again piece together what we think is going to happen. And to help us do that, Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report's going to join us at 10:30. TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy, is going to join us at 11:15. So those are two veterans, once again, probably 75 years experience covering the Buccaneers with everybody that's on this show. We'll throw in your year, so make it 76. Between all of us, it's 76. There you go. Thanks for playing. So we'll get a great perspective on what exactly is going on. Thank you. Richie P's always with us. He gives us the lowdown on what's going on. Sorry, if I don't press the little button, Richie P, then we get the reverb. So you are our ears out there. We thank you very much. Hopefully that's all. Text me if it's all taken care of. I think it is. So and of course the Lightning are playing tonight at the Devils. So we should we'll talk a little Lightning as well today. And yeah, we're all right. We're all good. Got it, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for the feedback. I'm a knucklehead. I didn't press the button. All right, so let's get started as we'll jump in with the Tom Brady stuff. It's like what was that game? Clue. You ever play the game Clue?
Clue?
Yes.
No, I did not.
You never ever played the board game Clue?
I
Yeah.
did not play the board game
Like
Clue.
In the conservatory, Colonel Mustard with the lead pipe.
Yeah, that game just seemed a little too confusing for me. I'm much more of a chutes and ladders,
What the hell is Chutes and Ladders?
You don't know what chutes and ladders is?
No, not a clue.
Wow.
Chutes and Ladders?
Chutes and ladders.
You don't know Clue.
Go up the
Well,
chute
they
and
made
then you go
movies
down
about
the ladder.
Clue. They didn't make movies about Chutes and Ladder. Whatever the hell
They should've.
Chutes and Ladder is.
No, Clue, none of that stuff.
No, never Colonel Mustard in the
No.
conservatory.
No.
With the candlestick, not the lead pipe. It was a candlestick. So we're going to play Clue with Tom Brady. We're just going to go around and see if we can get little clues here and there on what he's going to do, because he can't come out and have a press conference and just tell people what's on his mind. Can't do that. can't walk to a podium and take questions from the press. Why is that so hard to do now? Why is that so hard? Like, people can't just come out and say, all right, fire away. I'll answer questions.
Have you ever seen an athlete though, like him, ever like just walk away without doing a press conference?
No.
Like I've never heard of that.
No, and I know that the Bucs wanted to do one. They wanted to have an exit press conference, and he wanted no part of it. And the fact that he didn't, somebody pointed out, I think it was maybe Rick Stroud in his article that he, or maybe it was Scott Reynolds in the Pewter report, that he's never actually said the word retirement. Not in his manifesto that he put out on Instagram. He's never actually said the word retirement or I'm retired.
I tell you what, if you read
another clue.
I got more clues for you.
Okay, give me some more clues.
Not from Brady himself, but from others. Chris Godwin, I saw quotes from him lingering around from Super Bowl week, and he said, if this is it for me playing with Tom Brady. Notice that. If. He said if. Mike Evans, when he was on the Herd with Colin Cowherd, kind of said the same thing.
Interesting.
They don't sound like it's over with.
Well, nobody thinks it's over. Let's just be honest. Nobody thinks that at this point. Nobody. All right, let's start with the horse's mouth. What he said last night on Let's Go. We'll just start with that, and we'll pick that apart for whatever it's worth. So on the podcast last night, his last one of the season, wrapping up the Super Bowl, this was basically the exchange that Jim Gray set up about, are you done? Is this for real?
Going to be a lot of interest in what you do next. You stay close to the fans by doing this program. This is our last show. We won't be talking to you on a weekly basis until next August. People can follow you on your social media handles. But how are you going to go about your life? And if somebody sees you out working out because you're staying in shape, that's going to lead to all kinds of rumors. So what will you be doing next with yourself? And will you stay in shape, or are you going to start running over to eat a few key lime pies?
I love those key lime pies too. That's my dessert of choice. So there'll definitely be a few more of those, and I'm super content and happy with how I feel in my decision. All you can do is take it day by day. Nothing's promised for us. I'm going to do things that I really enjoy and spend time with people that I really enjoy spending time with. So the future is bright. I look forward to the opportunities that are ahead. And I look forward to speaking with everyone again next year. So I've had a great time doing the show. We'll keep it going. And, thank you to everyone for their amazing support. Thanks for another great NFL football season. And I hope it just keeps getting better and better from here.
Who was it? Richard Sherman yesterday, or not last week. Remember we played that audio? He had a very interesting quote. He said, if you stay long enough, at some point the hero becomes the villain. Is Tom Brady becoming the villain? Because I see so many people, with Jake Plummer, for instance, when we interviewed him last week, he was like, I was asking him, you think he's really retired? And he's like, and he gave a very interesting answer. And then he goes, personally, I'm okay if Tom Brady doesn't come back. I think we've had enough of Tom Brady. Do you think there's a little bit of that going on now?
Of course there's Tom Brady fatigue.
Yeah, of course
there's been Tom Brady fatigue for years.
Starting to feel it a little bit myself, but if he said I'm coming back, I'd be like, oh, okay, let's go.
To be honest with you, I hated the freaking guy before he got here. I had fatigue.
Many of us did.
Okay?
Yeah,
there was no greater joy than watching him throw a pick six to Logan Ryan and him getting out of here for good.
I cannot disagree.
Yeah, but then he came to the Bucs and won a Super Bowl.
And we're like,
so
whoa,
I have no Tom Brady fatigue at all. And I know that there's a natural
out there, though.
There's a natural thing though as well where people are like, oh, let's have some change. I think Bucs fans are used to change. And even me as a fan, I'm used to it. And I like that feeling of change sometimes. This is the one thing I don't want to change. So I will cling on to this, that he will come back. I'll keep clinging on to that.
Well, I just think there's just way too much smoke on it at this point. Albert Breer was quoted here in the Rick Stroud piece. He said of Sports Illustrated on the Rich Eisen show, he indicated Brady wasn't happy with how things unfolded at the end of the season. Quote, I think if Brady comes back, it's with another team. Brady loves the guys he works with, loves Jason Light, loves Bruce Arians, does he? Loves offensive coordinator Brian Leftwich, are you sure? But I do think that there were little things that frustrated him there, having come from his tight-knit operation he came from 20 years ago in New England. and that's perfect situationally. That knows how to handle everything. That is so big, buttoned down, and businesslike. I think there were things as far as the way, like, from in-game things to like the handling of the Antonio Brown situation that I think over time started to get to him a little bit. So I don't think he's coming back as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Interesting. Remember our interview with Solomon Wilcots, he said basically very much the same thing. And this is something that we've been harping on for a week that I think, again, is speculation. All of it is speculation, but there's so many people talking about it. So where are these stories coming from? This is the same type of stories, the same people talking about them at the end of his tenure in New England that were spot on. People were like, oh, that's not true. That's not true. No, there were definitely disagreements with Belichick. There were things going on in New England that we subsequently found out were true. These are the same people that are plugged in, whether it's to Tom Brady Sr. or wherever this stuff is coming from, but I'm hearing it from multiple sources. Albert Breer is hearing it. Everybody's hearing it. There were problems within the building. And whether, Albert Breer says he's not coming back as a Buccaneer, my take is that this retirement is his way of telling the Glazers, fix this stuff or I'm not coming back. And then when you said, here we're playing the game of clue, let's take this clue from Godwin. If. So what are the ifs? What are the ifs and buts and the candies and nuts? What is it that he wants? And by the way, when we talk about Brady fatigue, is it okay that he can just make all these demands? And is he always right? No, he's not always right. Well, I mean, most of the time he is. He knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl. He knew that he needed Antonio Brown, and he was willing to put up with anything to get him on the field. But that's not, as I said yesterday, that's very myopic.
And you said yesterday that you would like to know if somebody could go on the record and actually talk about these things.
Why is that so hard?
I have to throw this out here.
I have to remind people, this is effing football. We have much bigger problems in the world right now. We have so-called democratic nations declaring martial law over their people and stealing their bank account money and freezing their cryptocurrency and firing them for protesting the government. Our government is setting up to do the same thing. So and all we want is a quarterback to come sit in front of the media and talk about what his plans are. Is that so effing hard? And if he has a beef with somebody, like, I don't like this, I didn't like that, I didn't like that, come out and say it. Like, I mean, what is so hard about this?
I have to think, and I was going to ask you this. It's the only thing I can think of. Because of the way it happened, with Schefter reporting it days before he was ready and him having to maybe say it before he was ready then thereafter. I mean, do you have to think that maybe the reason why everybody's kind of speculating and there's nothing concrete is that he has made it very clear to everybody around him, no more talking to anybody? Like shutting that down? Maybe that's the reason why we can't get a definitive what happened.
Well, all the more reason for him to come out and speak. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth so we don't have to keep speculating.
Unfortunately, that's just not the way Brady rolls. You know that.
It's not the way anybody rolls anymore. Everything's got to be a freaking nuclear secret. It's football, for God's sakes.
I'm telling you, from watching the whole Man in Arena series and watching more on him, he's very clear on like what's my business and what everybody else's business is. And I think he very clearly thinks whatever happened there is nobody's business.
Well, he's also got to be realistic and understand he's not the only one in the building, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants to talk. And if he's sitting there going, I can't believe this stuff comes out. Well, grow up. This is, it's everybody's going to talk. You're the most recognized athlete in the world, for God's sakes. Everybody's going to talk. And if you're getting frustrated that the message isn't getting out the way you want to, then go to the dadgum podium and let's hear you. Is it that hard to take questions and answer them? And guess what? If a question comes up, you don't want to answer it, say, I'm not going to answer it. But you could get your message out, whatever you want your message to be.
But again, reading the leaves here and trying to play this clue game that we're doing here, maybe there is no press conference right now because he's not, as we're talking about, he's clearly not 100% on it. If he was really 100% on this, would you think it was more likely that he would have already been released or that would have already been finalized? He would have retired as a Patriot like everybody else did and it would be over with?
Right.
We wouldn't be sitting here, 3 weeks later discussing it.
Yep.
I mean, maybe that's why we don't have a press conference. I don't know.
I think you may be onto something right there. Absolutely. The reason he doesn't want to ask questions is because he's not he's not retired, and B, what he wants to say is going to make him look bad.
And the best thing for him probably right now, as Jim Gray pointed out, that last night was the last time you're going to hear from him in a public platform for another 8 months.
Right.
So
until he posts something on his Instagram.
Exactly. So there's no more of this from his, but he was also throwing, more onto the fire on the Super Bowl day. Did you see his Twitter on Super Bowl day?
Yeah, he tweeted out
the little reminder that he got on his phone that it was the Super Bowl.
Right.
And he put, shit on the thing.
Yeah.
And that he just kind of teasing.
He wanted to play.
Yeah,
he wanted to play in the game.
He's just teasing it. So, this is coming from him himself in his own little way as well. Yeah. It's not just us speculating.
There's some couple other things that he said last night that were interesting. That he was complimenting the Rams and maybe taking a veiled shot at the Buccaneers. Let's see. Talking about the Rams, he said, you're just trying to find the right mix of guys and the right team with the right attitude and the right desire and determination to get over the hump. And I think Matt found that in the Rams, and they found that in Matt. Matt is a very talented quarterback, and he went to a very competitive organization where you have Aaron Donald, you have Jalen Ramsey, and I know these guys are very competitive. Sean McVay, who is a great young coach, had to throw the young out there. And then they bring in the same year, they bring in Odell. They go all in with Odell. He has a great first quarter and a half in that game, and they go and trade for Von Miller. People think their time will come, but the reality is you've got to go do the work, put yourself in position to win a Super Bowl, Brady said. You've got to go for it. He continued, these things are really hard to earn. You can't buy them. You've got to earn them. And when you watch the Rams approach, they could go the other way, but it's not for lack of effort. That's an organization that's determined to go out there and win Super Bowls, and I have a lot of respect for that. Now, I don't know if he added on to that and aside, just like the Bucs did, just like we did here in Tampa Bay. If he didn't, he should have. That takes it kind of looks like you're saying, well, they did everything they could, but we didn't. My God, the Bucs did everything they possibly could. Except maybe what? What was Brady so upset about? Keep talking about the turmoil. All right, well, here's what I've heard, and I can't corroborate this, and I can't get anybody to go on the record, but I've heard that there were issues with game plans and the way they were being developed. That Leftwich and Brady were developing game plans, and then Arians would come in and change them, and there was turmoil in that way. And again, nobody will go on the record about this, or Arians wanted certain things. He is the head coach. He certainly has the ability, or should have the ability, to have input into things. Other set bias. It doesn't mean that it's always right. Doesn't mean that it's always wrong. The guy's got some credibility in this league, and maybe Tom just didn't like that. What is it? What was it that was so bad? Because Antonio Brown refused to go back in the game, and Arians told him to get the F out. That's a problem? You can't always side with Brady. He can't be right all the time. Well, maybe he is. I don't know. He was right about Antonio Brown when everybody else, like me, said no, don't do it. Of course, you could say eventually it screwed them, but they didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think I read the quote there from Albert Breer, and what he wrote especially, or said rather, was tight-knit. It wasn't as tight-knit as it was in New England, right?
Right.
And you recall down the stretch here, we had about 3 or 4 different players, the Ronald Jones, Whitehead, that were kind of tweeting certain things that were, and I know social media is its own thing. I get that.
Well, Rojo, before the playoff game, before the Eagles game, or was it the Rams game? Tweeted Pitt in the Palace.
Yeah, that was before the playoffs.
And
that was why he was hurt.
Right. So he was basically supporting AB in that.
Yeah. So,
which we found very puzzling.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
And then you see Jordan Whitehead was kind of posting some things. And, I don't know. Those things didn't happen in New England, obviously. Guys just going and having free reign on social media like that. I don't know. That I'm sure that has to play a part into what Breer was saying about the tight-knit locker room. But then again, like I said yesterday, you had every leader on the team saying it was the closest locker room and the best that they've been a part of.
And I saw a lot of stuff that AB was tweeting out this weekend. A lot of Bucs players were liking it. If I was a Bucs player, I would be pissed at AB. I would be super pissed because he quit on us. He essentially quit on the team. At least that's the way it looks from the outside. So maybe there's,
I'm sure there's a different feeling with some of those guys. I mean, they're around him every day.
So you think a lot of the players are pissed the way Arians handled it? How could they be mad at if a guy doesn't want to go back in the game? And that
might have been, I think and this is me just totally speculating here, but maybe there's a portion of the locker room that got split down the middle.
That's what I'm thinking.
How they feel about AB.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe it was. If I'm going to listen to what Mike Evans had to say, Mike Evans talked about this, by the way, last week on The Herd. Okay, he was asked especially about Antonio Brown, and kind of just the way he speaks about it. I have to think he tends with get that guy the F out of here.
Right.
Like that's a guy who's like he knows what he's seen too much dysfunction. Have that guy ruin it. So I don't know. There might be something in there. The team leaders,
I'm just remembering this. Remember when I asked the question after the AB thing? Why aren't the players coming out and supporting Arians? When AB was clearly lying about the ankle injury, right? We've established that. When he was lying about that back and forth on the bench, the players were there. Players heard it. They know, right? They know what the injury situation was. They know he wasn't severely injured, so much so that he couldn't go back in the game. We know that. But yet the players did not come out and support Arians. When one of their teammates was lying about what the coach said and lying about the facts of the entire case, not one player came out and said, hey, coach had to do what he had to do. This guy was breaking up our locker room. He was crying for the ball. It was all about him. And you know what? Coach had to take care of it. We're a team. Nobody said that. Not one. Not one player. Remember I said I would love to hear Brady come out and support his coach. Why did they not support their coach in that moment?
I don't have an answer for you on that one.
I think you know the answer for that one.
Unfortunately, it's a mystery, I think.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Because they didn't want to support their coach. Or they would have. Right? Maybe they think like, I don't know this to be true, what Brady thinks about. Well, Brady was asked about it, and what did he say? He said, excuse me, we have to be, very cognizant of what he's going through. I'm paraphrasing here. He's been through a lot of things. He didn't come out and say, hey, man, it's about the team. And if you're not going to be about the team, you're out. Nobody said that. Now, nobody said what Bruce Arians did was wrong either. But there was, their coach was as that week went on, their coach was under a lot of fire. You remember the heat that he was taking about, Bruce Arians tried to make this guy play through an injury, and remember the heat that he was under?
Yes.
And then, it kind of calmed when everybody realized that he was full of crap, that AB was full of crap with the ankle thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, nobody came to his defense.
And it ramped up. And remember when it ramped up was when he hit Andrew Adams in the head. Remember? And as I recall,
totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that's when it ramped up again. And AB had more cannon fire to go. See, I told you, right?
Right.
And do I remember any player have an answer or question about it or say anything?
Well, Bruce was asked about
it. Bruce was asked about it. And
of course he gave a very no, I don't regret it at all. I did, which I thought was a really bad answer.
It's just so hard to believe as we're like breaking this all down. I guess in the midst of the season, I think we glossed over a lot of this stuff.
It's like we're playing Clue here live on the radio and we're piecing things together.
Yeah, we got
these different things because nobody's going to come on the record. And you know what? In my experience covering the league for a long time, when you can't get people to go on the record, you know what that usually means? There's something to that story. There's a lot of fire.
And you got to think too, I mean, maybe it would be different because obviously the COVID stuff being still in effect, the protocols, the media wouldn't allow to go into the locker room.
Exactly. We would already have the scoop by now.
I've heard you say it enough. Yes. I've heard Scott say it enough that if y'all were in the locker room, there would have been many off the record conversations.
Yes, we would have the story by now.
And the story would probably be out by now.
Well, listen, I'll say this right here now. That I had two people come up to me at the Super Bowl, and we were talking about Brady. They were talking about the rift between him and Arians, and they said verbatim, Eventually, this is all going to come out. Eventually, this is all going to come out.
Who do you
And
think? You think anybody's going to
Oh,
spill it out, or is it going to be a report? You think anybody will actually
be in
say
a book? Probably in somebody's
in a
book
years from now.
Yeah, probably be in a book. Maybe not too long down the road. But I mean, more and more and more I look at it, and I'll be honest with you. I've probably had some blinders on in this way because I really like Bruce. I have a ton of respect for Bruce Arians. I really, really do. I like him personally. I think the accountability that he brought to this team, although it may not be up to the Brady standards or the Patriot standards, it certainly was a drastic change of culture here in Tampa Bay, and was a huge reason why the Bucs won the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think Arians has ever gotten enough credit for that. We heard, even heard Solomon and some other people, Jake Plummer and other people talk last week about what a great coach Arians is, what a great communicator he is, and blah, 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 blah. And don't discount this Achilles injury. This Achilles injury that he sustained this year is one of the most painful that you could possibly have. I don't want to out anybody's medical information, but I have a friend who's just gone through this, and he's 30 years younger than Bruce Arians. And it's like, my God, I was in bed all the time. I couldn't get up. I mean, he wasn't even supposed to be up and walking around when you have this injury. So you got to have it elevated. So I'm sure that he was under a lot of pain and a lot of stress, and it probably added to the whole thing. And you're dealing with Tom Brady, and you're at its high level. I mean, there's a lot that he was dealing with. So he probably was, a little bit compromised in some way, and not in his usual faculties, because you're going to be taking pain meds, and it's a lot of different things going on here. And again, so I'm a big supporter of Bruce Arians. But I don't think you can possibly look at this situation right now. Everybody's say his players got his back. They didn't. They didn't have his back. They didn't have his back in that situation. We talked about it. I wondered why it was, curious why the players were not coming to his defense or more vociferously coming to his defense. I mean, some guys did say, that's things like this happen. It's bad, blah, 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 blah. But you never really felt anybody was supporting Arians. And then the Adams thing as well. And maybe there's a faction of this team, and Tom Brady included, that do not want to come back and play if Bruce Arians is still a part of this. And, that's hard for me to say. That's really hard for me to say. And, you look at the Super Bowl, first time we've had two coaches under 40 years old. I'm not going to say this is a young man's game, because you look at some of the older coaches in this league and look at the teams that are having success. Kansas City, Andy Reid, Patriots, Bill Belichick, the Bucs, Bruce Arians. These are all older coaches, but they're waning. Clearly, Belichick's on the downslide. Andy Reid may or may not be. I mean, you can throw a lot of blame at his feet for what happened with Kansas City. I know a lot of NFL reporters that look at Andy Reid as a guy that is, a good regular season coach, but when it comes to the big games, and his record would support that, he's just not as good as he's had a lot of opportunities. He gets them to the big game, but can't really consistently get them over the hump. So maybe it's time for some of these older coaches to be phased out, because it's a high stress game. Hell, you heard Sean McVay's talking about getting out of coaching. He's been doing it for what, 5 6 years?
Yeah.
So imagine what it's like for these older guys, and listen, I've been kind of tiptoeing around this, but that's the question. If you're the Glazers right now, and you're faced with an ultimatum, hey, you need to graciously escort Bruce Arians out the door, and Brady will come back.
They'll know, and I think they'll know when it's time. I mean, if you go back and look at their history of ownership, you can't question. They know when it's time, right?
To fire coaches, they fired a lot of them.
Exactly. And they've always, they've known they don't let it drag out either. Well,
look, if you're the Glazers, you understand that the only reason Tom Brady is here is because of Bruce Arians. Now, the relationship may have soured, but the only reason, it's one of the big reasons I predicted Brady was coming here, is because of Bruce Arians. He knows how to work with quarterbacks. And evidently, this may have soured a little bit. And again, the age thing, the Achilles injury, all these things have to be brought into the fold here, because it affects the way people are in relationships. And to me, there's clearly has been a souring, a rift, if you will. And if the Glazers are facing that option right now, that's not even an option, by the way. From a business standpoint, from a fandom standpoint, from a team standpoint, that's not an option. There's only one answer to that question. And it's, Bruce, here's your gold watch.
But then again, I just don't know, unless this was totally like a plan on Brady's part and he's discussed this with Giselle, like this is my 50% retirement or whatever. I just don't understand how he could actually tell her like, hey, I'm done now. I'm finally done. And then be like, all right, I'm going back.
I didn't even want to bring this up. Then we got to get to Scott Reynolds, but I was checking out a Publix yesterday. Well, you know what? I'll tease that.
Tease that.
I'll tease that. How checking out Publix yesterday led to something in the Brady discussion. Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report, is up next. We'll get his take on all this shenanigans going on. Should be a fascinating discussion. Stay with us. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle, proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636 or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. If you have had any sinkhole damage or weather damage, water intrusion, anything like that at your home, and you had to make a homeowner's claim, didn't quite get what you wanted from your insurance company, or you're involved in one of those issues right now, get an attorney to represent you. And, of course, Christopher Palermo is the one to do that. He is the expert. He's recovered millions for his clients. So give him a call, free consultation. Just go to PalermoPA.com, get all of his information there. It's PalermoPA.com. All right, let's welcome in our good friend from the Pewter Report, the great Scott Reynolds, joining us here. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Hey, JP, how are you?
Oh, man, we're just sitting here just speculating away because we can't get anybody go on the record about all this Brady stuff. It was, that was all the chatter at the Super Bowl, my friend, and hearing a lot of stuff. There's more smoke here than than a Kenosha riot. There's a lot going on. There was fire there, and I think there may be a little bit of fire here. Well, I know you guys have written some articles. What are you hearing? I know you don't like to speculate like me because you're a very reputable journalist, but here we are on sports radio. We can kind of do a little speculating. What are you hearing?
Well, I don't know. Listen, I got to take Brady at his word with regards to. It's no secret that Giselle wanted him to stop playing, right? I mean,
right.
I think there's video of him on the field with her and his kids after the Super Bowl win, and this is here in Tampa just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or I should say a year ago. And she's saying, okay, like, is this it? Are we done?
So what more do you have to prove?
He literally couldn't even savor the Super Bowl victory because the wife is like, are you done now? Can we just, can we call it a day?
Yeah.
So she has obviously put a lot of pressure on him to want to retire. And he has spent a lot of time outside of football building the Brady brand, literally and figuratively. And there's a lot of, interests, I think, that pique his business sensibility that I think he's kind of eager to explore, and you're kind of seeing this one with Ndamukong Suh too on Twitter, right? He's really getting heavy into the business world, and that's fun and exciting. But the thing is, I don't know that even though Brady had a Pro Bowl year, some would argue, including myself and I think you, an MVP season.
Mm-hmm, yes.
5,300 yards, single season Bucs record, 43 touchdowns. Both of those numbers led the league. There wasn't enough reason for him to come back. And I think that's kind of the thing that is sticking in my craw a little bit. It's like, wow, it's like you're so close. You're literally on top of your game. And maybe that's how he wanted to go out. Maybe like, listen, I've already won a Super Bowl in Tampa. I didn't win one here, came close, but damn it, I've finished as the best quarterback in football. And I got Drew Brees' all-time career passing records. I won an NFC South title. There's really no other boxes to check. Maybe that's it. But still, the fact that with this team still pretty loaded, that he wouldn't want to make one more run. And
right.
He's even said, play to 45. Well, that's this year. It kind of lets you think, well, why didn't he want to come back?
Yes. He had the Albert Breer quotes basically saying that things did not end well in Tampa. And we were just talking about this, and I think I may have asked you this question during the season as well. During after the whole AB thing, AB was basically saying that he had an ankle injury, and there was a conversation about him not going back in because of the ankle injury. That was bull crap. We all know it was bull crap. That's not what it was about. Yeah. And none of the players came to Arians' defense. I mean, vociferously, not like they were supporting AB, but nobody came out and said, look, that didn't happen. He was yelling about getting catches and in the halftime and then he didn't go back in the game. And coach said, enough's enough. And we're a team here. We just can't have people doing that. Nobody said that. Nobody supported Arians. And I even said, why doesn't Brady come out and support Arians here? Well, maybe we know. And then after the Adams slap in the head, when Arians was asked, "Do you regret that?" and he was gruff about it. No, I don't regret it. I thought that was surprising. And and listen, I hate to speculate on this stuff, but it's out there. I mean, is this about Arians? Is this about and I think we've kind of glossed over the whole fact that he had that Achilles injury. I know people that have had that, older people. It's debilitating. You shouldn't even be out of bed. You're supposed to be in bed for like 3 weeks after. I don't know if he even had the surgery, but it is one of the most painful things you can do. He's 70 years old, and I'm not putting it all on him, but I'm just saying there's a lot of smoke here as far as that. The reason that Tom doesn't want to come back to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I don't know. And see, this is the real crappy thing about COVID and about the NFL's kind of draconian policies, especially now. I mean, and even really the last month of the season. The NFL, they're all about control, and they're a corporate entity, and they're fine with these homogenized, controlled Zoom interviews. And I'd love to have some open locker room access because, when you and I are in there, and Rick Stroud and Jenna Lane and John Ledyard and Greg Allman and the Tampa beat writers who are in the locker room, it's not just getting the homogenized group interviews, right? Huddled around Brady's locker, which we never got to do because we were never in the locker room.
Right,
hadn't been in the locker room in a couple of years now because of COVID. But it's being able to talk to some guys off the record. It's being able to pull some guys aside. It's being able to look at people when you ask a question.
Exactly.
And see what their facial responses are. And sometimes it's JP, you and I, we've asked the player a question, and it's the guy next to him in the locker room that raises the eyebrows or shakes his head or laughs or smiles.
Yes.
That it's kind of the tell, right? And it's like we don't have that access. So we're left to speculate and to guess and maybe to even kind of sit some conversations like this out, just because it's really, really hard to corroborate this stuff with no access to the players. And I've got some players' numbers and I can text them, and so do you. But
they're not talking
just like
about
anything.
This.
They're not talking. And not just that, sometimes stuff just doesn't come across the same way via text.
Exactly.
And that's any conversation, right? As opposed to talking on the phone, or even better yet, face to face.
And nor do they want to put it in text, because they don't, as much as they may trust us, they don't want to put anything where we can retext it or somebody else can get it and retext it.
Yes.
That's not happening either. So
listen, doing this 27 years, there's literally been hundreds of conversations I've had with Buccaneer players where I've had the micro cassette recorder on and right in front of their face. They look down at it and they say, "If you turn that off, I'll answer your question."
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So I turn it off, put it in my pocket, and ask the question, and they answer it. And obviously I can't use their name and all of that, but it's good background information. Sometimes you just attribute it to a Bucs source, and that's how you get information. And it has just been incredibly difficult in this day and age to really get to the bottom of things. Like, for example, Ronald Jones, right? We haven't heard from Ronald Jones all season long. He cannot have been happy from week one on.
No.
In his contract year, right? I would have loved to have had some quotes from Ronald Jones. Ask the Bucs PR staff. They're not. Ronald Jones isn't talking. We didn't talk to Ronald Jones all season. But guess what? If we're in the locker room, at some point in time, he's got to come in the locker room, grab a shirt, grab a jersey, grab some cleats, whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe he doesn't want to talk. But again, you can read the body language. You can, at least you have the opportunity. And that's something with this Brady and Arians incident. We just don't have that access to really fill in the blanks. And it's unfortunate for the fans and for us in the media.
Scott Reynolds joining us here. It absolutely is crucial. But, from the team's perspective, for the way, and this is nothing against the Bucs. It's the NFL in general, really. They want to control the message. All of them do. They don't want nosy reporters in there getting information like this. So
Correct.
That's why you and I have both had this conversation. We're never getting in the locker room again, like COVID or non-COVID.
Yeah.
They'll
come up with some other excuse or whatever.
That's the new normal, so to
and
speak.
we've been conditioned to the Zoom calls, and it's worked perfectly fine from the NFL's point of view, and they'll continue, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. But listen, and the crappy thing is when you have someone like Levante David, who either on purpose or let it slip. There's been a lot of turmoil this year.
That's right.
Like,
can
you Can we follow the question?
Yes.
Where's Levante? Can we get him back?
Sorry, folks. Interview's over. Interview's over. We got to go now.
That's it.
Like, what is it, Joe Biden? What are they shuffling it off for his afternoon nap? I mean, come on.
Right.
But here come the handlers.
Yeah.
No, the Bucs PR staff is amazing. They're fantastic. But look, they have a job to do. They have a job to do, and their job is not, frankly, to get all the information out there. That's not their job. Their job is to control the information. And I get it. I totally understand. If I was in their space, I'd do the same exact thing. That's what their bosses tell them to do. So, this.
And the other thing too is Tom Brady is not helping the situation. Do you realize that the guy, whether it's on social media or the podcast he's done, he has not used the word retirement or retiring.
I read your article, and I said that this morning. I said, that's right. He has not. Yeah.
He has not used those words. And he's said phrases like never say never, take it day by day. So it's like, I know Brady's into crypto, right? But man, he is being cryptic with these messages. It's like, just come out and say, I'm retired. I'm not coming back.
That's right.
And obviously he can't do that. And why can't he do that? Well, because maybe he wants to mentally still have one foot in the door and one foot out. I don't know, but we're not going to be able to talk to Brady again. That's for damn sure.
That's for darn sure. Absolutely. So, I mean, you still keep evading the question. Like, what do you?
I don't know. I don't know. Do I think that something was amiss, or I even used the word awry in my SR SPAT 5 column?
Yeah.
I ask the questions that I don't have the answers to. I'm doing some speculating because this was not a neat and clean situation. And when you have Mike Evans come out and say, yeah, I kind of knew that, for like the past month and a half, I kind of figured, maybe this is the year, it's like, but why, and I don't even think Brady has come out and said, this is why I'm retiring.
Right.
I think he's, he came out with some reasons.
Right.
But those reasons have to do more with, and listen, this is him, his career, his life, his personal life, his professional life. He gets to call the shots.
That's right.
I'm not saying he owes the Bucs anything. He gave him 2 years. He signed for 2 years. He added a year that was mostly for, contract maneuvering. He gets to make that call. I mean, he's not abandoning the Bucs. He's not quitting on them.
Mm-hmm.
He played 22 years. He's 44.
Right.
He's done what nobody else has done. He gets to make that decision. But what I want to know is could the Bucs have done anything? Was there anything within the Buccaneer organization that would have lured him back for another year? That's the question that I want to know.
I think there is.
Is what could the Bucs have done to make him come back and play at age 45 for one more run? And that's the question that Jim Gray didn't ask. And again, we're not going to have a chance to ask Brady any more questions. We're done. But that's the question from a Buccaneer standpoint I would like the answer to, because everything he has said has been family related, future business interest related, and I get that. But what could the Bucs have done? And if the answer is nothing, JP, I want to hear that. I want to hear, listen, this is not about the Buccaneers whatsoever. The time has come for me to hang them up, and there's nothing the Bucs could have done, right?
He didn't
to have me come back for another year.
He didn't say that.
And the follow-up question is why was that?
Right. Which is why he won't do an exit press conference. Because typically,
exactly.
This is the greatest player in the history of the game. Okay, he's leaving the game. You're not going to do a press conference, like not going to do an exit press conference. You're the greatest player in the history of the game, and you're not even going to do really? How is that possible? You know why? Because he's not done. He's not done.
Well, Possibly. I think. Listen, a press conference would paint him into a corner, whatever corner, but he wouldn't want to be in that corner. Okay, whatever hypothetical corner it would be. So I agree with you. The other thing too is who's on the press conference, right? Is it Schefter? Is it Rappaport? Is it Darlington? Right?
Is it Reynolds? Is it Peterson? Is it Stroud?
Yeah. Is it us? Is it the New England media? How long is this press conference? Who's going to get questions? Who's going to get snubbed? Right? I mean, it's like,
well, so what? Let's do it. Let's have an hour long, however long it takes. Where he's going into retirement, where you got to be. Let's go.
I'm with you, but listen, this was the guy that was notorious for the 12-minute, 4-question press conference in Tampa. So,
right. You know,
thanks, guys. Got to go. Thanks, guys.
Got to go. Yeah. All right. So I teased something, and just like, because while we're down in the dirt speculating, and we just said if we had more access, we wouldn't have to do this. So I was at the grocery store yesterday. What is there right in front of me? The National Enquirer. And what does it say? Giselle Bundchen and Tom Brady barreling towards $650 million divorce? What?
Oh, boy.
Back in November, the National Enquirer reported Brady and Bundchen weren't as happy as they pretended. Apparently, the couple's obsession with money was causing big problems in their marriage. And their business, particularly the endorsements, all hinge on them being the super couple and Tom being the number one guy in the NFL, an insider dished. They don't really have a picture for what comes when Tom's NFL career is over, at least not one that they dare share with anybody. Now, okay, consider the source, but the National Enquirer, they've been right before. They've been when everybody's
they've gotten some things right.
They've gotten some things right. They got some sources.
Yeah.
So, but and this just adds to the whole intrigue. Like, maybe it isn't all roses. And for me, I'm like, dude, she's a supermodel. How do they even keep that together with the kids and everything else? I mean, that's got to be unbelievably hard.
I think the thing is, she's really, and he said it and she said it, she's really had to kind of put her career on hold to take care of the kids and the family.
Yeah.
And allow Tom to be the maniacal, competitor that he is with the, intense preparation physically and mentally, et cetera. Right. I mean, she's been on record saying off season, hey, is this a Brady family day or is this a Tommy day? Let me know so I can, plan what to do with the kids. Right. And when she's not talking about during football season. She's talking about like March and April. Right.
Right.
So, or the summer. So, listen, like I said, she's on the field, literally using the Super Bowl in Tampa. Like, are we done? Are we done? Right?
I mean, left to prove.
Waited.
Yeah,
she has waited for this day for the time, and so I think he was under some serious pressure, and I think it wasn't like he didn't want to, retire or spend more time with his kids. I don't think that was the issue at all. But we've all had this instance, you and I think everybody out there listening right now, right? If we could only clone ourselves, JP, right? If I get so much to do, if I could just clone myself and split half the workload with Scott 2.
Oh my God,
Scott 1 can handle this stuff, right? I mean, and I'm Brady's no different. He's a human being, and so it's like he would love to be able to continue playing football. There's a part of him that's the competitor that I'm sure would love to. I want to play it on 50, right? And if he got the green light, I think he would do it. If Giselle said, "I love watching you play football. The kids love it. Don't worry about the home life. We got this, Tom. You keep playing until 50." If he got that message at home, he's playing for the Bucs next year or somebody else. Right. But you can see and feel the pressure and how quickly this decision came.
Yeah.
You could infer that there's a lot of pressure to retire. Happy wife, happy life, right? Happy spouse, happy house. And
so what?
And listen, we all sometimes have kind of dug into our work and kind of hid from real life, right? Where some of the workaholics out there like myself. And the problem with Brady is you can get away with that during OTAs and training camp and football season for sure. But when there's place to hide, when the season's over, there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. You got to answer to Giselle and and the family.
Yeah. And so let me ask you this really speculative question. why didn't Byron take the Jacksonville job? Was it just all Trent Baalke? Or was there an opportunity to maybe coach some other team, be a head coach? And
You mean the Buccaneers?
yes, yes. And it's, knowing that Brady's like, if you were the Glazers and Brady was like, look, if Arians is, very in a very classy way ushered out, and Byron Leftwich were to become the head coach and play caller and OC, and I was, had direct control over the offense in a lot of personnel decisions, which clearly he still does, well, then now come back. And if you're the Blazers, the answer to that question is absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. As much as we love Bruce Arians, this is business. And, he's about to be 70 years old. We'll pay him handsomely the rest of his contract. He can go into a consulting role as club president, blah, 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 blah. Let's go. Let's sell some luxury boxes. Well, they've already sold them.
Let me ask you this, JP. When did Bruce Arians come to Tampa?
3 years ago.
What year?
2019.
2019?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you recall seeing empty seats in 2019?
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah,
right?
There were a lot.
Yeah. Were there some luxury boxes that were empty as well?
Oh, a lot of them.
There were.
Scott, there were a lot of them
empty. What happened the next year?
They sold everyone on I believe 5-year contracts with the expectation Brady would at least be there a couple of years.
Exactly. So Tom Brady is the draw.
Yes.
Not Bruce Arians. It's rare that the coach is the draw. Even John Gruden, when he came
1,000%.
to Tampa, he was popular. That move sent some shockwaves to Tampa, and I think it was well received. But listen, fans go to the game to see the players play, not the coaches coach. Right? That's just a fact. So, you're doing a lot of speculation today.
Oh, yes, I am.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I am.
I can't disagree with you. I can't agree with you just because I just don't know. I don't have any knowledge.
Yeah, neither do I. We don't
have.
We're just two guys talking at the bar. We have no knowledge, and we've laid that out on the table. We're not sitting here reporting anything. Yeah, but we're just there's speculation out there. So we're talking about it, right? Okay. Yeah, we have we've said 100 times.
Well,
we have no knowledge.
I will say this. I do believe, and I've talked to some people in the know. I do believe that there was some real concern with Twitch. And listen, when you see what happened with Steve Wilkes out there in Arizona, and Byron was on that staff, Wilkes got 1 year and he was fired. Okay, and deservedly so because he didn't get the job done. Right. You see Brian Flores start off 1-8 and then go 8-1 down the stretch or whatever the records were, and he gets fired. Yep. Right. You and I, we saw Ray Rhodes get fired, right? After winning. And so listen, one of the things that sucks about minority coaches is not just the fact that they don't get hired that often, nearly as often as they need to, right? Because there's some damn good coaches out there. Yes. They get fired. Yeah. Right. But you want to fire David Culley, that's fine. Like he did not do a good job at Houston. I'm all about meritocracy. Okay. Right. I don't care what color your skin is. He's one of the best coaches ever, and I really don't care that he's black, and I really don't care that John Gruden was white and he was a damn good coach too. And the same with Bruce Arians. Yeah. I mean, I try to lead a colorblind life, and I've praised the Buccaneers here in Black History Month for being one of the most progressive franchises
100%
in NFL history. They've hired 3 black head coaches. Guess what?
I hear you.
The next one's too, because it's either going to be Byron Leftwich, Todd Bowles, or Harold Goodwin.
That's right.
When Arians retires, and any of those 3 guys are qualified, and I would applaud the move. Okay. So, but the thing is because Byron was on that staff out there in Arizona, Wilkes got 1 year, he was fired. And Trent Baalke does not have a good reputation at all. And I think Byron says, listen, I don't just want to be an NFL coach, NFL head coach. I want to have a chance at sticking around.
Exactly.
Right. And you're going to an armpit of a franchise in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah.
That it's like, listen, Shad Khan, I mean, he gave Gus Bradley 4 years to turn that thing around. And he was patient with Gus. And Gus just couldn't do it. And then it's like, then you eventually go to Urban Meyer, it just, they've made some awful decisions. And so I think Byron Leftwich was actually smart to say, no,
I agree. 100%.
I'm not going to put my neck on the line for Trent Baalke, who has the guillotine ready for when I screw up.
Yeah.
It's up with my head. And I think that he saw that coming, because he also sees Todd Bowles get 5 interviews and not get another coaching job. Right. And so a lot of times, and it's awesome that Tony Dungy's had some success, and even Denny Green, right, in Minnesota and in Arizona before he passed away. There's been a couple of minority head coaches that have got a second chance elsewhere, but there's a lot that haven't.
Yep.
And I think Byron says, if I'm going to go somewhere, I've got to have a chance to succeed, because history suggests, wrongfully so, I might not get another one.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with what Byron did. No question about it. I think that was smart.
It's got to be the right situation.
Yeah.
You have to have, and honestly, I don't care what color you are. That should be the situation.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, and I think even Peterson kind of, and maybe Byron was the fire starter in the situation, but for whatever reason, they brought in Rick Spielman, to either work with Baalke or eventually be the guy that's going to oust Baalke.
Yeah.
Because I think he's the problem in Jacksonville, and aside from ownership, but you've got to look for the right situation. And as tempting as it is, and I know there's so many people out there that say, man, it's 1 of 32, man. It's a tight knit circle and fraternity. But the object, just like you're a college player, right? Do you want to leave after your redshirt sophomore season? Or do you want to stick around and improve your draft stock maybe until your senior season? And because if you're a higher draft pick, you're going to have a greater chance of sticking around in the NFL.
Yeah.
You want to make it in the NFL, or do you want to succeed in the NFL? Because there's a lot of guys that make it. A lot of guys get drafted. A lot of guys are part of that 3 years and done, trajectory. But I think everybody wants to not just make it in the NFL, but stick around. And I think that's the same with coaches too.
Yeah. Great points all. So listen, well, I'm sure we'll be debating this for a while and playing the game of Clue and trying to get every little nugget here and nugget there to put it all together to finally get Colonel Mustard with the kill stick in conservatory. And we'll figure it out at some point. But right now, it's just a lot of speculation.
Right.
So, but I love doing it. It's fun.
It is.
All right. I'm going to go read the rest of this National Enquirer article here. Where I get my sources. All right, tell us where they can tune in to get all the great Pewter Report content, my friend.
Well, yeah, at pewterreport.com, of course. If you're a Bucs fan, that's the website you should be checking out on a daily basis, multiple times per day. And we also got some social media channels you can follow for fun. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Pewter Report, And then our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. We do podcasts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday during the off season, every day at 4:00. And we talked about quarterbacks yesterday. We did an off season outlook. So you can go to our Pewter Report TV YouTube channel, subscribe to that, and watch that episode from yesterday. I'll be on at 4:00 today talking about running backs. Then we're going to break down offensive line tomorrow, and then wide receivers and tight ends on Thursday. Not just looking at the roster, but looking at free agency, looking at the draft for all these positions. It's a fun week on Pewter Report TV.
I'm tuning in for
on
that.
Our YouTube channel.
We should have talked about that today, but all we did was talk about Brady. I know how to play the hits, brother. But
there's a lot of interest in Tom Brady. Man.
I know we're gonna get to the rest of that stuff at some point with you. So maybe next week we'll be able to get to it. Thanks, brother. Appreciate your time as always.
You got it with you. Yep.
The best. Scotty Reynolds right there. We just sit here and we just literally like me and him are just having a drink at the bar like we did a couple weeks ago. And that's what we're talking about. Like, we're not reporting anything. We're not doing any of that stuff. I'm just like you guys you want to be the ears that I had, out at Super Bowl Radio Row and talking to all these people and getting all this stuff. I'm trying to bring that to you, and I'm trying to give it to you with the exact perspective of what we're talking about. We're not reporting anything. We're not, saying this definitely happened. We're talking contextually and putting all these different quotes together, and I'm just telling you what we're hearing. And my biggest challenge here is I really, really, really respect Bruce Arians, and I really like him. And it's hard for me, for the journalist side of me, to run out there and report, oh, this was the issue, when you don't hear it from Bruce, or you don't hear it from Tom, because we don't know. We don't know how they feel unless they talk and tell us. And even then, they probably gloss over a lot of stuff they don't want to make public, because these are hard conversations that are had in the locker room. When it comes down to winning, it's there are tough choices that have to be made that are going to hurt people's feelings.
I just started thinking of this only because I had one eye over here on the right to the TV, and I guess you maybe could draw some similarities with that situation. Why is it in the NBA when there's drama, there's a million stories coming out right away about what happened, and we can't get just one little tidbit?
We just saw Kyrie doing what? A press conference, being asked by press people, were you the one to blame for breaking up the Nets?
Yeah.
I would love to ask that question of Tom Brady.
Beyond that, though, there's other reports. There's actual reports from all these NBA guys saying, like I just read one today. Harden wanted to play ISO ball, didn't like it how they were playing. There's all that stuff that comes out right away in the NBA
because they're talking. I mean, they can talk to the players. We can't talk to the players anymore.
They can talk to them in the NBA like that?
Yes.
It's close?
Yes. We can't talk to the players anymore. Well, even Kyrie's got to answer questions every day. Or they have media availabilities. They have this. The league, the NBA thrives off this stuff. They thrive off the drama. They want the drama. Yeah. They really do. I mean, it's a big part of their business model. The NFL does not. The NFL doesn't want any of this drama out in the open. That's why these players are so. I mean, these players, all these players used to have their own shows. Remember that?
Yeah,
a little radio. I used to do show. I used to do Ernest Graham's show. Do Jeff Fane's show. Used to do all different kinds of shows. We could get the Sabby Piscatelli show, which was a legendary show. I mean, we used to have all these guys on, and they would come out and talk. They can't do that anymore. Yeah,
it's interesting what Scott said too. He would have the recorder out there.
Happens all the time.
They're just put it away. I'll answer it
because you know why? Because players want their voice heard, and they also know that they can get shit done by throwing people under the bus. And if we were in there, I guarantee you, I would be talking to somebody in the corner, and they'd be telling me dude, Bruce this or Tom that or Bruce, they would be telling me. And because they eventually they want it out because they want it fixed the way they think it should be fixed. But, and it just occurred to me, and this is not fair at all. But when you look at the, let's take a break and we'll come back. Now, you know what? I'm going to say it now because we're going to have to double up the break and then get to TJ at 11:15. And this is league wide. I mean, you saw the Super Bowl. I mean, it was one big propaganda for diversity, inclusion, and equity. I mean, it was Jason Whitlock, I thought, wrote a brilliant column about it, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later on. And you got to look at the NFL, looking at the Tampa Bay situation. This is your defending championship situation. And you have and again, I'm just keeping it real here, folks. And this is what people are talking about on the outside. And I don't think it's right whatsoever. But I know how the media works, and I know how these conversations get started in New York. I mean, look how Goodell was absolutely brutally battered at that press conference for the ridiculous hiring cycle we just had for not having enough black coaches. I mean, it was brutal. That was a beatdown that he had to endure. And you don't think they're looking down at Tampa, one of their crowning franchises where Brady is, and going, "Oh wow." Look at the incident on the sideline between the black player and the old white coach. Oh, look at the old white coach hit a black player in the head, slap him in the head on the helmet. And now Tom Brady may or may not be whatever the speculation is. I mean, you don't think that these conversations are being had in New York? Of course they are. Of course they are. The shield and the image of the shield. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's maniacal. And it is not going to treat Bruce Arians fairly. It's not going to happen. But it's going to, and I'm not saying he's not at fault for this. He is. You know, you don't hit a player on the head. You know, I'm sorry. And his answer, as much as I love Bruce to death, I would have said that's not a good way to handle that situation. You needed to apologize in that situation. Even if you don't think you need to apologize. And he shouldn't be doing it. You know, you shouldn't be doing it. I'm sorry. And to say you don't regret it, it's not what the league's looking for. No. It's not what the league's looking for. I'm just telling you, whether you think it's right, wrong, or indifferent, it's not what the league's looking for. So, you know, what is going on behind the scenes? I think we're going to find out in the next couple of weeks. And I would not be shocked if Bruce Arians is, and hopefully in a very classy and wonderful way, moved up to a team president, or he gracefully retires or what have you, and Byron takes over. I would not be shocked, and Brady come back. And they do not want it to be seen as Brady calling the shots here. And I don't necessarily think that, I mean, they may be right. You know, they may be right that it's time for Bruce to go on. I don't know. I'm not in there. I'm not calling the plays. I'm not in the meetings. I don't know. They won't say it. So, I mean, if it is time, then it's time.
I just still can't see it. I can't see that scenario. I know we got to speculate. And we are. We're doing plenty of it. I know. Pure
speculation. Well, I mean, so Bruce is going to retire next year after all this, you know, quarterback turmoil that's happening right now. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It mean if you're if you're going with a new quarterback, then it's a fresh start. Right? I mean, Bruce is not going to coach beyond this year, right? Next year, he's got 2 more years left.
We don't think so, no.
I don't think so.
But you have to think. I mean, it depends who's walking to that next door of quarterback if Brady's not returning.
Well, and if
Byron plays a part,
if Byron Leftwich is such a hot commodity on the hiring front, maybe the Glazers have already decided that they want to keep him. And whether it's going to be a coach in waiting or if it's Todd Bowles, whatever it is. Who's the next coach? Who's the next quarterback? These are huge organizational decisions.
I just don't.
And if you have a chance to bring Brady back for 1 year.
I'm just under the impression with Byron Leftwich. I get it. We think he's very qualified to be the head coach. And maybe he's viewed as the coach of waiting in Bruce's eyes. If he gets away, it's not the end of the world for the Bucs.
No, it's not.
I mean,
it's not.
Go back and look at the Bucs history. They have swung big always at head coaches, have they not? Even names they tried to recruit out of the college world and from other teams.
Every team tries to do that.
But they've always swung bigger than most.
And they got one.
Huh?
They got one. John Gruden.
Yeah. But I mean, they swung big for Bruce too. On the back of Jason Licht's relationship, though.
Yeah, I mean, was Bruce and I, with all due respect, I wouldn't put him in the John Gruden star category before he came here.
Yeah, probably. My point being, I don't think the Bucs are going to have a problem.
By the way, I think he's a better coach than John.
Yeah, I do too. But my point being, I don't think they're going to have a problem finding the successor once Bruce Arians is either let go or goes peacefully out on retirement. And I don't think you should.
Well, their track record in hiring coaches.
Their
track record in hiring coaches is no bueno.
I understand it's no bueno.
Yeah,
I do. But I just have a feeling that because of the reputation of the organization now, maybe. They wouldn't have a problem.
So much interesting stuff going on with the Bucs. All right, when we come back, TJ Rives will join us. You know what? We're going to talk with TJ about the roster, about some of this other stuff, because we kind of beat the Brady thing to death. We're going to talk with him about some roster stuff and the Super Bowl. I've got to get his thoughts on the Super Bowl as well. Such an interesting game. So that's next. TJ Rives. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now. So go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com.
Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized
In Boca Grande, 941-964-0400. That's 941-964-0400.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Chris Palermo. You can reach him at palermopa.com. We're also brought to you by, in our second hour, Bay Area Modern Medical Center is a new way to get your primary care. They focus on the total body experience, not just when you get sick. They want to prevent you from getting sick. And obviously with COVID, that's a pretty good idea, folks. They look at your diet, supplements, exercise, everything to optimize your active lifestyle. If you need hormone replacement, men or women, they do that as well under a very targeted approach. So find out more. It's a great, great place to get your body right. Christopher Lugo and his experienced team will help you. It's Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. All right, let's welcome in our good friend TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy, joining us here. What's up, TJ? How are you?
What do you need me for? You've been jet setting out in Hollywood. You've been hanging with, the celebs. You've been on Radio Row.
Me and Lil Jon.
You've been out at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And now you're back a man among the people after all of this. I'm glad you survived.
Yes.
Getting out of California is not a bad thing after being there a few days, I'm sure. How
Dude,
you feeling?
I couldn't wait to get back. LA is a cesspool, bro. It is just a homeless tent city. I have a lot of compassion for the homeless, but I mean, what's going on out there is horrible, bro. I mean, the whole freaking thing is a disaster. People are just mean. They're nasty. I got accosted so many times by homeless people. It's brutal, man. I'm crying.
Yeah. We talked when the Buccaneers visited there in September in that SoFi complex.
Yeah.
I know you did not go to the game, but did you lay eyes on the monstrosity complex
I went in.
That stadium sits on and all that?
Yeah, I went into the stadium, toured the whole grounds in the middle of the week, went over there. There were some opportunities over there. It is colossal and it's massive. And obviously there weren't, the stadium wasn't full. You were there for a full stadium. But I did this. I think, in my opinion, it's antiseptic. It has no character whatsoever. It's very LA. It's very plastic and soulless, if I may say that. You know what I'm saying? You watch a game at the Rose Bowl. I mean, it has character, the grass, the stadium, fir trees, the mountains in the background. There's character. This is like going to the dentist office, bro. It's just
going to the $5 billion dentist office.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was your take on it? I mean, it's colossal, it's massive, but
I agree. Well, so there's two things. First thing is we cannot convey how expansive it is. So I was trying to explain it to a couple of people. If you pictured around Raymond James Stadium and go all the way east past the Bucs complex, Advent Health, One Buck Place, where St. Joseph's Hospital is, come all the way back west to HCC and where Legends Field is, and go a little south where those Southgrass parking lots are going towards the Yankees minor league complex. All of that is the SoFi Stadium complex.
Yeah.
All around. It's incredible how big it is. So that just gives you a little visual for those that have not been there, a little mind's eye of how big it is. And you've got, the NFL Network headquarters are being put there. They've got retail stores they're going to put their residential, it looks like. It's just incredible how big it is. And then as for the stadium, it's a tricked out, modernized $5 billion stadium. But I'm kind of with you that the setting, like, for example, when we were at the LA Coliseum playing the Rams in 2019 with Jameis Winston.
Yes.
And you're sitting up in that press box, that iconic press box, overlooking downtown LA, overlooking the mountains. That is a setting on the USC
that has
campus.
Character. That has design. It has, it's memories. You watch a game there, it just has a different vibe. Watching the game on TV, it just feels like I'm watching Tecmo Bowl, It's very plastic.
But the problem is, and we're now old enough farts, I guess, that we're both past the half century mark. They built all of these stadiums the same way.
I know.
Jerry's World in Dallas.
Yeah.
The UFO where they're going to play the Super Bowl next year in Arizona, whatever they're calling that now. I think it's the State Farm Stadium out in Glendale, Arizona. The modernized new stadiums are all
Vegas.
the same. The one in Houston, the one in Minneapolis. there's very few of them that are outdoor that have any of that character that you're talking about.
Right.
The new one in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it is a dome.
Yeah.
It's got some character, but it's the
does.
dome. You don't have picturesque. You don't have any of that. So this is kind of the trend.
You got the lighting. You get the lighting issues with the roof, and half of it's lit and half of it's not. It's just it's not my favorite. I'll just put it that way. And if this is going to be, people have talked about, this is going to be the permanent home of the Super Bowl. God help us all. God help us all. Because that,
Well, they're not going to do that. I'll tell you, they're not going to do that because they love the money and the escalating bidding process from all the cities that have hosted, whether it's Miami, Tampa, New Orleans, Houston, Dallas, Phoenix, LA. Those cities are always going to bid and bid big time to get this event. So they're not just going to leave it in one place. I don't buy that.
My last thing about
as much as LA wants that narrative, they're not going to leave it in one place.
And and plus there was no fan atmosphere whatsoever, dude. I was there all week. I saw maybe one Bengal fan, no Rams fans. The Rams had a pep rally on Monday and nobody showed up to it. I mean, it's just like some corporate bullshit event. I mean, I mean, LA Live, we were joking, it's LA dead. The entire week, there were no fans there. Then, maybe on Thursday, you started seeing some of the trinket, dealers come out. And there's nobody. I went up to one of them, like, you selling anything? He's like, no, there's no fans here. It's Thursday on Super Bowl. There's no fans here. I mean, they had just.
Well, I did see the one thing. I don't remember if it was Darren Ravel tweeted it or somebody tweeted it, that he could not believe that the ticket purchase, he had gotten access to ticket purchase somehow through the secondary market, was just so minimal from Ohio. To your point, that nobody was coming, whether it was just so expensive. But I mean, the Bengals hadn't been in the Super Bowl in 33 years.
Yeah, but
why were you not trying to make the pilgrimage? But apparently it was very low, to your point.
Well, think about it. You're going to LA. Okay, so hotel prices were $500 a night at the crappy places, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you had a 4-night minimum. So your hotel minimum was $2,000, $2,500. Right. Your tickets were at the worst seat in the house was $6,000 before fees. So you're looking at probably $15,000 for the two worst. You're talking all in. If you're, I'm going to bring my son to it's
airfare, food. Yeah,
it's $20,000. I mean, parking was $500. $500 to effing park. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, you want to talk about a fan? There was no fan experience. It was all about everybody in LA wanted to be seen and be there at the game. Hell, when the first drive that the Rams had, they scored a touchdown, and they cheered. Quote, home stadium, they scored a touchdown. Nobody cheered. Half the people weren't even in the building yet, and there were no Rams fans. I mean, it was a joke of a Super Bowl. Let's just be honest. And and by the way, somebody asked me to describe the game. This is how I describe it. Weird. It's a weird game. I mean, I enjoyed a lot of it, but it was just kind of weird. I mean, what's your take?
There were some exciting plays. There's obviously a lot of controversy with the officiating. We can get into that right about now. But good Lord, at one point in the third and fourth quarter, there were 7 consecutive punts. 7, not 3 or 4. 7 straight possessions ended with punt. So it was a weird is a good way to describe it. Good word on a Tuesday to describe it. It was definitely dramatic. With the Rams scoring in the final minute and a half, and then the Bengals getting a chance to tie it or be overtime looming. So it was a dramatic finish, but it was weird. And if I'm a Bengal fan, I'm a tortured soul right now because 33 years later, the Rams did what Joe Montana did to them, and they were winning the game, and then they give up a drive, give up a touchdown, and can't win the Super Bowl, and maybe it's going to be another 33 years before they're back there. Who knows?
What did you think of the call on Wilson, the interference call? I mean, that literally changed the entire game.
Shaky.
That's
shaky. Now we need to clarify the context, and you do a great job of this, of 2 or 3 things. The first thing is it's a horrible no call on your guy, on your boy Jalen Ramsey. He grabbed the face mask by the head, and they can try to spin that however you want, but they missed it and blew it. There's a back judge in the back middle of that officiating crew, and he's supposed to see that, and he's supposed to throw that flag and not let a 75-yard one-play touchdown start the second half.
And how do you miss that, bro?
When you begin from that premise of that is a huge game-changing play that really helped Cincinnati, and then I thought right after the interception, they blew it again when Donald shoved Joe Burrow out of bounds, and you had the entire Bengal roster surround those 3 or 4 defensive linemen, and 2 different Bengals One pushes Aaron Donald in the face, and the other one pushed one of the other defensive linemen in the face right in front of the refs. That's supposed to be a 15-yard penalty for unnecessary roughness and stuff after the play. They didn't throw the flag. All right, so that's at the beginning of the second half. As the second half unfolded, I don't think the officiating was that big of a deal. It was magnified on that play, but hey, earlier on the same drive, they have a 4th and 1 where if you stop them and and take the ball over on downs, you basically to put the game away. That's from the big defense. They gave up another 3rd down on that same drive. And by the way, even if they don't call, and you know this, even if they don't call the penalty on the 3rd down play, it's still 4th down. And the Rams can maybe score on the 4th down. You don't know what happened. That was not a 4th down play. And by the way, one more, as you know, the Bengals got the ball back and had a chance with a minute and a half and timeouts to go do something, and the Rams stopped them. So there's too much being made about the officiating.
I agree.
The cop out is the easiest way out. That's
I think to call the game one way and then to go ticky tack right there was just curious. And for those who are like, the NFL wanted the Rams to play at home, they screwed the Bucs and they screwed everybody and they wanted the Rams to win. I mean, you gave them fuel for the fire. You just poured gas on it. So it is what it is. But those are great points that you just made. And I would go, to the coaching. Zach Taylor, what are you doing? 3rd and 1, and you're giving the ball to Samaje Perine and not Joe Mixon?
Running inside at Aaron Donald.
At Aaron Donald, who's being blocked one-on-one. I got an idea. Let's take our worst running back and run right at Aaron Donald. Well, it was being blocked one-on-one by a guy who hasn't blocked him all freaking day. And he makes the play. Shocking development. All right, 4th down and 1. Let's put Aaron Donald one-on-one with a guy who hasn't blocked him all day long and let him rush the passer and throw the football. I mean, my God, could you be any worse as a coach? What is that?
Yep. I think for both of them, they struggled some. I think McVay did a better job having been there before.
Yep.
With some play calls that he had. But yeah, I mean, but give the Bengals a tremendous amount of credit. They were winning the game.
Yeah.
They could not protect Joe Burrow to save themselves and save him. I mean, he got sacked 7 times. He probably should have been sacked at least 2 or 3 other times, especially on that final play. So, but they deserve a lot of credit because they won with him making a lot of plays. They've got obviously talent at skill positions, and it was a lot of fun in Cincinnati. And this is the great thing about the NFL. Is that markets like Cincinnati and Green Bay and Buffalo, who's done well now the last few years, have the same chance to compete with Dallas and New York and LA and Chicago and the biggest market teams because of the system that they have set up. So it's a testament to Burrow's talent and to the skilled players they have around him. They got all the way to the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl and were winning the game in LA with everything against them. It was not a blowout. It was a close game. And one more time, Roger Goodell and the NFL could not have paid millions of dollars for any better scenario than those last 7 playoff games, all being close, all being dramatic, all coming down to the final minute. Every one of them essentially coming to a walk-off play at the very end of the game. They couldn't have scripted that any better, speaking of Hollywood, but it was real life. So exciting into the season for sure. And as I keep saying to Buccaneer fans the last couple of days, and I'm sure you brought this up, if you're the Bucs, you now look at it as we lost to the best team. We lost to the team that won the Super Bowl. And obviously the 49ers can say the same thing in the NFC title game. You lost to the team that went ahead and won the thing. So now that's a little extra motivation for this year, which I'm sure you want to talk a little bit about, a little off-season for the team in Pewter and Red.
All right, so TJ Rives joining us here. So the template has been now produced in the new wave of NFL Copycat League. You build a roster, then you go out and find an established quarterback to come in and put you out over the top, and you give up whatever the hell you got to give up to go get them, right? So that is the Brady template. The Bucs have used it now. The Rams have used it now. Who's next? All right. So which rosters are ready to win right now and need an experienced quarterback that are out there? Some would suggest the Steelers, although I think their offensive line is still very much a work in progress. I would say the number 1 team in that category is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they sit here right now every bit as good as they were in 2019, if not better, when Brady decided to come here. So now the question is, of course you use that template. Who's the guy you go after?
Is Brady coming back, or is it Russell Wilson? Certainly not Aaron Rodgers. He's too expensive. To me, that guy is Russell Wilson. But what do you think? How does this work out?
Well, I mean, that's the $64,000 question, to quote the famous game show that's longer ago than both you and me.
Yes.
I mean, we don't know. They had Brady up their sleeve 2 years ago. Do they have parameters and a trade talk going on for Russell Wilson? I keep saying to you, as I did a couple of weeks on your show, I don't know that those sisters of the late Paul Allen that are now in charge of the Seahawks and are reportedly looking at potentially selling the team, are you going to auction off Russell Wilson if you're them to anybody, not just the Buccaneers, to anybody? So I don't know. I don't know how viable he is. I mean, we saw the whole quarterback spin the wheel, carousel this weekend of all the reports that, okay, Kyler Murray's teammates apparently hate him, but then Kyler Murray's kind of denied that. He's followed all the Arizona Cardinals and the organization, Cliff Kingsbury on all of his social media.
Yeah.
So is he in play? And he's very informal. We don't know that truth. What happens with Aaron Rodgers? Because obviously, if he's on the move to wherever, that's a game changer with wherever he lands. Again, I don't know that he plays anywhere else. I would be more inclined to believe he either plays in Green Bay or he retires. I don't know. I don't know, but we're going to find out in the next couple of weeks. We're going to find out with the moving and shaking here, because we're on the eve of free agency, and teams have to know, including the Buccaneers, do we have that huge name that's coming in that is going to enable us to re-sign some people at a lesser cost, at a less expensive cost, because they want to come play with that guy. So that's one of the big factors coming up, obviously.
Yeah, and let me just, for the sake of speculation, because we're just speculating here, would you, if you're Jason Light, give up the same thing that the Rams gave up to get Matthew Stafford? So 2 1s, a 3, and in this case, instead of Jared Goff, Kyle Trask to Seattle for Russell Wilson. Would you do that deal?
Well, let's be honest. I mean, Kyle Trask is not the same thing as Goff as a proven commodity who would win playoff games. It could start. Now, granted, 100%. Detroit's terrible no matter if Goff's their quarterback or not. But Goff is just Trask is an unproven college star from 2 years ago, and I don't know how much value that has on the trade market. So under your hypothetical, what if Seattle's asking for something else? What if Seattle, I'm just throwing a name, I'm not saying you ever do this. What if Seattle's asking for Devin White because they need to rebuild their defense? They want number 1 picks and they want Devin White.
Yes.
Do you do it?
Yes.
I mean, this is kind of like fantasy football, armchair GM. I would not trade Devin White, even in a deal for Russell Wilson. I wouldn't trade him. But if you're them, if you're the Seahawks,
Wilson, I get him.
And you're looking at the Bucs roster, the Bucs aren't give you Mike Evans, and that's never going to happen.
Nope.
So who's the other piece that they would want with the draft picks to give you their star quarterback, their franchise quarterback? That's what you have to think about. That's why these conversations, these hypotheticals are always fun. I don't know. In the Rams case, it made sense because the Lions needed a proven starting quarterback if they were getting rid of Stafford, and they got number 1 picks in addition to how horrible they turned out to be.
Right.
So Bucs don't have that kind of stellar player to trade with the picks. And I don't know that I'm fine with giving up a couple of number 1s and a couple of other premium picks too. I maybe, but that's a lot of capital. That's a lot of capital to give up.
But it's also the 27th pick in the draft. And next year, if you have Russell Wilson, you're going to be picking 27th again, if not hopefully 32nd. We've gone. How many times have we drafted quarterbacks? And chased it and just figured out he's not the guy. Josh Freeman, Jameis Winston, Trent Dilfer. I mean, we can go on and on. It's better to get a guy, and I don't care. I don't think the draft picks are as absolutely valuable as maybe they once were. I think people are starting to see that I think you need the draft picks when you're building that roster. Once you get to where you are right now as Jason Light, you need that quarterback to put you over the top. And I think that's proven now the last couple of years that that's the way to go, instead of trying to find out, is this guy good enough? And it takes you 5 years to figure out, can he play in the NFL? So,
yeah, well, but I mean, there's also recent examples here where we saw Mac Jones play right away, struggle some at the beginning, but they ended up being a playoff team with Belichick. And I know that's Belichick and their offense, but that's a rookie.
Yeah.
And you look at Tua Tagovailoa playing in year 2 without much of an offensive line in Miami, and they were still winning games.
Yeah.
And Justin Herbert hasn't had a ton to work with. He's got skilled players, but not a great offensive line, and they had success with the Chargers. Maybe a little better coaching, they would have ended up being a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
So Herbert played his first year, and now he came into his own kind of in his second year. But these are recent examples of guys that stepped in and right away could play in their first or second year and have success. And so, let's not forget that Jameis Winston in his second season after having played the rookie year had the Buccaneers on the verge of a playoff caliber season at 8-5 before they ended up losing a couple of games at the very end of the year. So I'm not as fearful of trying the Trask option because number one, I saw him play at the highest level for the 1 year at Florida and succeed against SEC caliber talent. That tells you something.
Yep.
And he's been learning behind the GOAT and watching. I wouldn't be as fearful to try that, especially if it could guarantee that you get some of your players back under the salary cap because it's more affordable to have Trask than one of these other quarterbacks.
Will the Ryan Jensen
part of that benefit?
Will the Ryan Jensens and CD3s come back?
Well, right.
Kyle Trask. That's the question.
So let me give you a little intel. Let me give you a little intel on the JP show before you have to run here. Leonard Fournette very much wants to be back in this setting.
Yes.
Now, at what price? That remains to be seen. So Fournette went to a flag football game up here where I live in North Tampa, and that got out in the media, and I talked to some people that were there. He could not have been a more gracious, cool dude with all the flag football players at that flag football game Friday night while you were hobnobbing in L.A. on the red carpet with all the celebs and whatever. Fournette was hanging out, not at a Super Bowl, but at a flag football game in Lutz, Florida.
Good for him.
So he was signing autographs, taking pictures, could not have been more accommodating, and he told one person after another, I love it here. I want a Super Bowl here. I want to be here. So can they work it out with him? What is he willing to take? All of that remains to be seen. But that guy's a key piece. If you can bring him back in the mix with these other skill guys, that's an important thing. Otherwise, right now, it's an uncertainty with Ronald Jones' contract, the fact that he's been injured in each of the last two seasons repeatedly. I don't know that you can count on him game in and game out. I don't know. So you got to just, if you're the Bucs, you got to make some decisions here on can we keep a Fournette? Can we re-sign him? Can we re-sign a Ryan Jensen? What do we do on the defensive line with the guys that are there? We saw JPP put it out on social media for whatever it's worth. He's moving on to play somewhere if the Bucs don't want him for the upcoming year. You got to make all these decisions.
Yeah.
And right now you're at an advantage because you can re-sign your own guys before free agency. If you can move and shake and figure it out, you're at an advantage before they hit the market. And Fournette is one of those key pieces before he hits the market and somebody offers him $8 million a year or $10 million a year. What it's going to be. I don't know that he's going to get that, but somebody might.
Yeah.
Somebody might. We'll see.
Great stuff, TJ Rives. Thank you, my friend. As always, tell the folks they can follow you on social media and get all your great content.
Listen, I always love being on with you. I'm glad you got back from LA. You can follow me on social media, Bucs Sideline Guy, Creative Enough, BUC, Bucs Sideline Guy. Buccaneer off season will not be dull. We also have the Three Dog Thursday podcast.
Yes.
Appropriately enough, it's out on Thursdays, and we talk underdogs now, college basketball, have some fun through the college basketball season. So other than that, time to go play a little golf, some here and there. Let me know when we have the tea time. I'm still waiting.
Yes.
Let me know when we have the tea time.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Go tee it up.
Absolutely. All right, partner. Sounds
and we'll be
good.
talking free agency and draft before we know it, brother. Good to be with you.
Let's do it next week. The great TJ Rives right there. All right. Well, before we take a break, I want to tell you that to go to Diamond Source, that was the place to get your Valentine gift. I hope you got it, but it's always the place. If you got a gift card, by the way, for Valentine's Day, good time to go use it. They have the greatest selection, no question about it. And Steve and Julie Weintraub, great benefactors here locally, and they are always involved in local charities, always donating pieces for live auctions, and they give those charities they don't ask for a cost for the piece. They just give it to them, and whatever they get, they get. It's a lot of people don't do that, but they do because they support all these local charities tremendously well, and we say support them. You got to go buy a ring anyway, so go get that baller watch that you want, or get something for your lady. Always the best place to do it. 5 years, no interest financing is available. If you're looking for that ring and you're going to pop the question, just, $40, $50, $60 a month. It gets you the hugest ring you've ever seen in your life. Go in and find out. It's a great place. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Hudson Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, quick break. And when we come back, I want to discuss this Jason Whitlock piece that he wrote. Really, really good stuff.
What the hell's going on with Kyler Murray? There's news on the tennis front with Joker. And my thoughts on the new Colin Cowherd show. I put a tweet out that got a lot of engagement. So we'll hit all those topics when we come back. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com. Well, it's never been more important to support each other and support local businesses like Italiano Insurance that has been around for over 60 years, serving our community with great customer service and also giving back to our locals in need. Their Metropolitan Ministries Holiday Food Drive was another tremendous success this year. Why call a 1-800 number when you can call your trusted neighbors at Italiano Insurance who will save you money? In Boca Grande, 941-964-0400. That's 941-964-0400. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. Our second hour is brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. You know, we like to say that getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Anti-aging regenerative medicine at Bay Area Modern Medical Center is the way to go. They will optimize your body performance in many areas. They'll get your diet right, specifically for you. Find out what foods you're allergic to, what foods work for you. That's something you probably don't know. What supplements would be best for you? What's best exercise for you? Because everybody's different. Everybody's body is different. Everybody is at a different level of physical activity. So if you're overweight, there's a certain way that you need to start to work out. And there's a certain way you need to build up. And that's something that they're going to look at. This is not just a regular doctor's office. This is a modern medical center where they look at every part of your body, your physical activity, your nutrition, and they get it right. It's a totally different approach, and it's probably way different than you've been experiencing most of your life. So if you're looking for a new approach to primary care, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical team will hook you up. It's a different type of thing. And again, if you're looking for testosterone replacement, they do it in a very, very professional and monitored way, and that's important. So go to EAMC.com, EAMMC.com, and find out more information. All right, Ben Simmons just did his live press conference, breaking news, and he was asked, hey, have you been working on your shooting at all? Yeah, I've been in the gym all the time working on my shooting.
All right, we got one more question left.
More questions.
Right after that one.
That's it. And someone did ask him, about him faking his mental health issues because Doc Rivers got mad at him for passing up a sure layup when they needed it in the playoffs and trying to pass it off to somebody else. I mean, I hate to make light of a guy's, mental health issues if they're truly there. But is that just, is it mental health issue, or you're just not able to take a little bit of criticism?
Listen, I could probably use about a 30-minute to an hour of by myself to really go off on this topic, because
I'll take a moment. But we have a couple minutes.
These guys, respect to the mental health. They're all babies. They're all coddled.
Toughen up.
They can't take any criticism, and then they laugh at old heads like Shaq and Barkley, who are keeping it real, by the way.
Right, completely.
Who I agree with.
Been through it, by the way.
Been through it.
Yeah.
And I love Shaq said it best. You think when I played in LA and I didn't perform well, people weren't saying that I was shit?
Yeah, of course they were. I remember it well.
You kidding me?
Yeah.
So
can't shoot free throws.
I don't,
hack a Shaq.
I don't have much sympathy for these 24, 25-year-old guys who want to just jump. That includes James Harden, by the way, who's not a winner, never will be a winner.
Nope.
If you can't make it work in Brooklyn, you ain't working it ever.
Got to pad my stats, bro.
Yeah.
And by the way, these guys that are so, incredibly talented.
They are.
James Harden could adjust his game to play any way he needs to play. He's big enough. He has the ability to pass. He has the ability to rebound. He has the ability to shoot. He actually, when he was in shape, had the ability to play defense.
Yeah.
You're a great athlete. You can play defense if you want. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to do the things that are necessary to win.
There's no such thing as sacrifice with these guys, man. That's why
it's about them.
It's like
my game.
It's guys like Russell Westbrook who says, "Oh, I'm not used to sitting for long stretches. It's throwing my game off." I don't want to hear that garbage. Just admit it. You've dropped off. You need to eat some humble pie. Maybe you need to come off the bench, Russ. I don't know.
You think?
Carmelo had to do the same thing.
Dude's making $47 million.
$47 million.
He's guaranteed 47 for next year.
Yeah, to shoot like 25% from downtown, but take like 20 shots a game.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Crazy what's going on in this league.
Yeah.
And the Lakers, by the way, that everybody picked to win the championship. What are they, 9 games under 500 now? Some ridiculous, Did
you see LeBron's tweet yesterday?
Oh, I can only imagine.
He wants to do an LA parade with the Lakers, the Dodgers, and the Rams all together. Bro.
Are they going to do it in LA or somewhere where people will actually show up?
I didn't recall we were counting bubble championships now. I didn't recall that. Did you? And that happened, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was still relevant for a parade.
Well,
I don't remember.
We did have a boat parade for the Lightning Bubble Championship. To be fair.
Okay.
To be fair.
That one was more Mickey. Literally Mickey.
What do you mean?
That was Mickey. It was made up.
What?
The bubble champion, the NBA bubble championship.
NBA bubble championship. I thought you were calling the Lightning bubble championship.
No. The NBA one was quite literally Mickey. I mean, it was in Mickey Mouse land.
Yeah.
And it was fake.
It was fake.
But it's been 2 years, LeBron. Stop shoving yourself into everything.
Yeah, it's a horrible look for the NBA right now. Well, actually, I kind of like the fact that these teams that have been built organically, like Memphis and Phoenix, who else can we throw in there?
Milwaukee,
Miami.
Yeah.
Like, is
Cleveland?
anybody? It's Cleveland. Is anybody talking about that? The other day I heard, oh, well, now it's going to be the Sixers and Brooklyn in the finals. I'm like, how do you get? I mean, the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, how do you get there? How the hell do you get there?
I don't know. I don't know. People are still talking about the Lakers. If they get just wait till they get to the playoffs. Let me give you a hint.
They ain't getting to the playoffs,
Let me give you a hint. The Lakers, if they get into the playoffs, are going to be the 8th seed.
Yeah.
Guess who they're playing in the first round? Phoenix or Golden State?
They're going to keep their ass handed to them.
They ain't getting out of anywhere. Okay, it's over. If they get to 7th seed, they're getting one of the two. They ain't getting out at all.
I'd kind of like to see that, actually.
We saw it last year.
I know. I'd like to see,
but I want to see it this year. I want everybody to be playing too. No fake injuries going on, AD.
Yeah, none of that stuff. Speaking of whiners, what the hell's going on with Kyler Murray? I like. All right, so now whoever leaked it out, whether it was the team or whatever, that he's self-centered, uncoachable. I mean, all this. I don't know to believe that. It has a very Stephen Ross flavor to it. Although I don't know Kyler Murray. I don't know anybody on his team. I look at his body language. I'm not thrilled with it. I know he's immensely talented. Is that believable? I don't know. Why did he unfollow everybody on his team or unfollow all the Cardinal stuff? What are his teammates saying about him? I mean, right now, if I'm the Bucs and they're looking at trade opportunities, I'm not giving up a whole lot for that cat. No way.
No at the moment. No, I mean,
No.
And by the way, somebody in the Cardinals organization leaked that out. Probably.
Yeah.
Right.
No, absolutely.
I mean, there's definitely something there.
Absolutely. And by the way, it's not good for his trade value. I mean, if you're leaking that out, that is not a smart thing to do.
No, it makes no sense. And I mean, I wouldn't touch him whatsoever. The money that he wants to command for somebody, like I said, who has won nothing. And again, you can put out all the statement you want. I saw a statement yesterday saying there's nothing wrong. Yeah, there is.
They put it on Instagram. All of this nonsense is not what I'm about. I vowed to grow and get better. I play this game for the love of it. My teammates, everyone who has helped me get to this position, that believed in me and to win championships. All of this nonsense is not what I'm about. Never been, never will be. Anyone who's ever stepped between those lines with me knows how hard I go. Love me or hate me, but I'm going to continue to grow and get better. Okay. I mean, that sounds good. But what's all this shenanigans about?
I don't want to hear about him complaining about the scapegoat thing. That's what bothers me. That really bothers me.
Well, what's with the unfollow stuff? I mean, that's childish.
It's all childish.
It's just like going on Facebook and like, what's your relationship status? Oh, you get an argument with your girlfriend, like, I'm changing it to single. That's what that is.
Getting a divorce.
I mean, you're a freaking NFL. You're the face of a $1 billion franchise, and you're going on Instagram and not unfollowing all your. Come on, man. That is so freaking childish.
All I ask, just accept that you needed to play better.
Yeah,
that's it. You played like crap for not the last 9 games of the season. Just say it. Nobody's scapegoating you. It's just fact.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. I wanted to get to this Whitlock article. I thought was really, really good. The title of the article, and I was hoping to run into him at Super Bowl. Didn't see him. The NFL's diversity, inclusion, and equity Super Bowl will be remembered as the Roger Goodell bridge to chaos and racial division. By the way, did you see the we're at 11:59. We'll have to do this tomorrow. Did you see the commercials encouraging little girls to play tackle football? Like ball dressed up and padded, girls that look like they're like 5th, 6th, 7th grade. What the hell is that about? What is that about? You want some 75-pound little girl getting all excited about going out getting her pads, and some kid running through her like little Derek Brooks? That is so irresponsible on so many levels. I can't even tell you. NFL, what are you doing?
we'll talk about this tomorrow. All right, great conversation today with Scott Reynolds and TJ Rives about Brady and the situation going on with the Bucs. I mean, we had a fun show today. We just really kicked it back and forth. So if you missed any of it, go check it out on the app or on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. And we'll chat with you tomorrow. See you then.